Hi everyone, welcome to another exciting session by Digital Vidya. And it is time for consumer good companies to reinvent their digital marketing capabilities so as to engage their customers and lure them to purchase their product. To have this learn more about this, we have the topic for the session today, consumer good companies to start thinking digital. And for leading the session, we have Ajit, who is the head of digital marketing and e-commerce at VLCC. Welcome Ajit and over to you.
Thank you, Divya. Hello, everyone. Today I'll be speaking about the topic of why consumer companies start thinking digital. Uh, the word digital is one of the most spoken words in today's economy, especially in India, after demonetization and various other things happening. To begin this whole presentation, I like to first show you a slide, after which I like to speak about the topic. Uh, Divya, is the slide visible to all?
Yes, it is.
So, hi everyone, can you all see this? So it shows a lady standing on a counter, which wherein she is seeing customer who bought the items also bought this. So in today's world, it's all about knowing your consumer from the moment that you do a touch point, the moment you convert them to retain them. And digital marketing give you that visibility. Digital marketing give you that tools. Digital marketing give you that vision to do that and reach to the right consumer in the right way. When I say the right consumer in the right way, what I mean is in a traditional format of marketing, wherein people reach to the consumer mostly by having outdoor advertising or through print ads, which is more static in nature and less dynamic in nature, wherein digital marketing is going to the consumer right onto the devices, mainly the mobiles, followed by tabs and laptops, knowing what they do in the social behavior through their social media profiles, knowing the browsing behavior through various other search platforms, and targeting in such a way where you're pitching to the consumer the right thing in a more organized fashion. When I say consumer brands, for example, in today, I'm taking care of the digital marketing for VLCC. So when I joined in over here, we did have a Facebook page, but what we was missing at that point in time was how do we engage directly with the consumer who is there on a page and waiting for us to help them know us better, interact with us, and convert into our long-term relationship. Social media has become a very important part of this whole consumer journey over here. To explain you by a small example that what I mean that media means is, for example, there's a party on and two people from a real estate agent agency enter the party. One person enters, starts giving his card and telling people that yes, please do approach me and take my services to generate business. When the other person who is standing with the same profession goes into the party, talks to people, understand and mixes around with the people and subtly tells people that yes, this is my profession and I can help you to find a better house or a property, something. The acceptability of the second person will be much higher with the value of respect being also bigger. So that's how social media is nowadays. You get into the lives of your consumer, you understand them, you engage them, and then you tell them what to sell and how or what to buy from you, not sell, sorry. What to buy and not just buy, you are also present in a moment where they will like to share their experience with you, a good, bad, average, it can be. So a real-time interaction is helping consumer industry reach directly to people. If you, taking a forward onto my slide, if I go to the next slide, why digital? So if we see the data, in a very short span of time, around 170 million people online shoppers by 2020, 8 to 10 billion on total online sales to account for FMCG. 85% of online shoppers will buy online by 2020. 42% of online shoppers will be women. This is a very important change which is happening. A woman buyer is the most loyal buyer considered if you acquire them. And that's when the value of a business goes high. From a VLCC standpoint, if I give an example, we are a women-centric product company. If we engage and retain a women audience for a lot and able to understand their needs, what it does is it keeps a pull towards the brand, also helps the brand to increase the word of mouth across various platforms, people, and associate with they interact with. Moving on to my next slide. In this, after giving the reason why digital, after showing you the Google Bain report numbers, a consumer journey nowadays have become, as I spoke of giving some example when I started this whole discussion, when I said that how do you interact and you talk to your consumer. The consumer journey nowadays interacts in a non-linear format, where you just don't interact with the consumer by a newspaper ad or through a TV ad or a radio ad. Now you're interacting with the consumer everywhere. And if your presence as a brand is not felt across all the platforms, it may be your social ads, it may be your performance ads, it may be your blogs, it may be your reviews. And so there's a very important aspect which is developing the offline-online marriage. There's a Ulta.com, there's a beauty company, which is a $7 billion company. The reason it is $7 billion valued company is it marries the concept of offline to online so smartly that 80% of the revenues are driven through subscription online. The absolute contribution of the online business might be very less to the offline business, but what it does is it's growing at a percentage of 40%, where the offline business is growing at 4%. So the point I'm trying to tell you guys over here is, for a consumer industry now, it's very important to understand how do you interact with your consumer in each stage. By seeing this graph, let's get into a bit of specifics of it. For example, awareness. You have to create awareness for your product, or you have to do it for your whole brand. First, it used to be what traditionally we used to do to create awareness was to have TV ads, paper ads, to an extent radio, and few other allied activities. Now what we do is we have online discussion forums, we have emailers, we have SMS, we have app notifications, we have blogs by influencers, which is becoming a very important part of marketing today. We have vlogs, which is again a very in thing, because power videos, 1-minute video telling about your product to the consumer is very highly appreciated nowadays. Then you have direct emails, then you have your own e-commerce store, third-party e-commerce store, henceforth your awareness, concentration, purchase, retention, and advocacy is interacting across all these. And if you're not realizing this, you're missing on a big opportunity. I'll give you a small example. We have a professional series brand for which our presence in India was negligible. It's a brand which we are getting from Singapore. We started a Facebook live session with an expert using that product and talking on to people. What this helped us in doing is it has actually given us the leverage over the other professional brands who are present in the market that yes, we are coming with a beauty expert telling you how to use our products, and at the same time they're interacting with the people who are there in the profession industry, asking us questions, knowing the methodology of doing it, performing the activity onto that person over there, and not just trying to sell my product. And so what all I did with this activity was branding, educating my consumer, making it aware about the benefits of my product, creating a desire to be there with me for a longer period of time, because I'm not just selling, but I'm being a friend to that consumer, directly being among them. So these are the, so if I make it more brief for you people, is that content marketing, which I'll distribute into bloggers, vloggers, influencers, social posts, and some to an extent offline activities by bloggers, where you can directly influence selfie contests, social media contests. It's become a major part of how do you interact and engage with your consumer. So now moving on to my next slide, what we'll discuss today is how marketers are making improvement on the online customer experience a priority, effectiveness of data-driven marketing, which I've shown in my first slide, that you should know what the consumer is going to buy, why it is going to buy, and when it is going to buy. This is the real fun of digital marketing, that real time, even if I open my Google Analytics right now, I can see how many people there on my website, how many people are there on my checkout pages buying my product, how many people are considering to buy my product on the PDP pages. So effectiveness of data-driven marketing, how many people are coming in, going back from my shop, and multiple activities which I'll be speaking in as we move ahead. What are the realities of today practitioner looking to reach ultimate single customer view, which I have mentioned in my past slide. How marketers are dealing with a consumer journey that is no longer linear, which I showed through a slide. What we learned today is content strategy for consumer brands. Understanding native marketing is very important for consumer brand nowadays. So if, for example, giving an example of native marketing, you're browsing through your Times of India app or a CNN app, you will suddenly see an art sponsored article saying best cars available for you, most healthy tips, best way to keep you healthy, wherein you will be pitching in your content, not just pitching in your content to the consumer. What you're doing as an you're putting cookies onto that person, where you can do a remarketing. A remarketing will lead to a lesser cost in the coming campaigns. You are actually obtaining the data of the people who actually went through your content at point in time. Henceforth, uh, native content is actually becoming quite a sensible thing to do nowadays. How can ad spend be effectively utilized? So what I realized when I joined this company was that they were spending huge amount of money on YouTube promotion, but nobody was seeing how is this money being spent on YouTube promotion. Are we targeting the right segment? Are we going to the right demography? Are we going to the right geography? Do we want, so if I'm not popular, my product doesn't have a reach in certain region, why should I promote it? Why should I spend my money over there? Why don't I spend that money in a region where I have more reach, where I have more distribution? So that is how you correlate your offline activities to online influence to the people who are watching you right now. Then programmatic ads for making difference to ROI has become a very effective tool, which is becoming more and more acceptable across. Lastly, why brand e-commerce has become important and driving future sales strategy of brands. So we'll be starting with how consumer experience is important online nowadays for a brand. First thing, when we have a consumer experience spoken about for a consumer brand, is how good is your website, how good is your social media interaction. That is the two most important things which you first need to work on. How do you position to your end consumer? How do you uh, So making a website is the easiest thing to do, but making a website which is responsive, which is uh, easy to use, ease of use, I would say, which is automated in terms of, so automated will correlate to, for example, I have a website and somebody comes onto my website and browses through a X category. Now, if my analytical tool is not able to read that person's cookie at that point in time and remarket that person, it comes to second time, my activity of getting that consumer and spend done on that has been lost. So first and foremost important thing is when you're creating a good website, it's not just about the look and feel, it is about how automated, how ease of use, how responsive, and how ROI driven it is. If your website is on a Google AMP, your SEO rankings will be quite high. So SEO is one of the most in thing when people speak of that. Yes, let's do an SEO. SEO, to do an SEO on a site, people tend to just think that putting a keyword might increase your, or putting some meta tag might increase your SEO. No, that's not the case. In reality, what you need to do, have to define the structure of your website. How do you make the consumer enter your website? What will be the whole flow of your consumer on the website? How the consumer will see your product? How the consumer will move out of that whole checkout process? Or if it's just a brand site, then how is that brand interaction happening from a flow perspective? So you need. So what I mean to say by this whole example is you need to define an objective, and every objective needs to be defined by an goal which you're going to achieve out when you're making a website. Now that's homepage. Website is one part of it. Then again is the social media properties. From a brand perspective, if you don't have effective social media properties, if you don't have uh, res proper response time and engagement with your consumer, believe me, however you might spend on promotion of your videos and promotion of your various other activity, you're bound to not to achieve anything. It's very important to have a very effective social media pages, regular hygiene posts on them, a proper online reputation management of that, effective engagement, a proper ORM of the queries of the consumer, effective creatives, because on social media your creatives are the most important thing. That's how your consumer will perceive you. And again, the objective has to be defined. Is it a sale oriented or it's a branding oriented, and that's how your whole activity will run around it. So improvement of your online customer experience, one aspect is your social, one is your website, third is very important is your interaction pages, which is like your review pages. It can be Quora, it can be Reddit, it can be any blog. So how smart and intelligent your systems are there, how many tools they are there to read what is happening to you, and how you are reading those mentions which are happening in regards to your brand, and how fast and efficient. So even if you have 10 mentions in a day, to start with, a small example, or you might have 1,000 mentions of your brand in a day. So how many mentions are positive, how many negative, or average, and are your tools uh, managing them? How fast you're responding to them? How is your uh, uh, customer care team aligned to those goals? And how are you reducing the pains of your consumer? And how fast are you picking up the good points and using them for your marketing? Very important. If you're using your reviews, testimonials, and other things to effectively use them in your promotions, believe me, that makes a lot of sense nowadays. I'll give a small example. There was an intern with me. She was doing her internship, and in front of her, I was saying that how we use influencers to influence a product, and she said, "Sir, how can you have influencer who is being paid to influence a product?" So people believe these influencers. They believe these testimonials. So be very, I would say, be very cautious how you make your influence on the consumer using these influencers, various other social platforms. So the third aspect which I'll be adding onto this list is your consumer experience on various other blogs and these kinds of sites where you are being mentioned. So I hope I have spoken about the three most important aspects of it when it comes to online customer experience. Uh, Priorities have to be defined by each company. This is what they want to achieve. If it's a rapid sales-oriented program, then you will run that way. If you are running a branding program, then it will be totally focused towards having branding activities. How do you prioritize that? There are a lot of properties which are available for monetization, which you can use to effectively make your ads being visible over there. There are exponential video ads which can be used. There can be um, jumper ads. You can have uh, innovative properties which can be useful. You can have high impact properties like where people have a lot of people visit at that point in time. Rather than doing a paper ad, you can go and put your ads on Times of India app or a CNN app that can be easily done through any of your GDN networks. So improving your online experience, defining your properties, priorities, basis your goals, and then ensuring that your execution of the same is perfect. A lot of time as marketers, I believe we tend to have a lot of plans but miss on execution. Execution is very important. And lastly, seeing the output of your execution is much more important. If you don't map your output, you will never know what exactly you're doing and how good and bad you have been over there. So second point, the effectiveness of data-driven marketing and channel-specific offline delivered digital channels. So there are multiple channels now available for digital marketing. Every second person, if you might be at your place, he will be reaching you to that. Use my network, use my platform. I will make your ad come 100 times to people. I will ensure that you get 1 million views. Someone will say that every mobile will see your ad. Multiple stuff. Someone will come up with a 3D store program to have, but I will only advise you to see that how effectively that can be used in a internet ecosystem which you are going to target. For example, if you're targeting in a region where the 4G connectivity is good, then uh, mobile where the consumer is aware to use it, you can use quite a high technology. But I'll suggest not to use the same in areas where your internet connectivity or the ecosystem is not as good as it should be. Okay. Uh, Opting for channels, again, opting for channels should be defined and defined basis the goal you have, and the goal should be your ROIs on that. And defining the ROIs might be how many views you get, how many clicks you get. On a native marketing, it is on clicks, that how many people have clicked, and you are able to generate that many cookies for remarketing activity with them. When in a normal video ad can be just about views, and how do you capture those views, because that can from a brand perspective that can be vanity, that yes, I'm getting 1.5 million views on my videos and etc etc. But data has to support your decision making, and this is that you should be planning it. Then how do you reach your consumer, right consumer? Again, onto my first slide, if we go to this slide, sorry. Yeah. How do you reach a right consumer? So there are a lot of tools available nowadays to help you understand what set of consumer you need to target. There are tools like Adobe tools are there, then there are Mixpanel tools, there are Google Analytics, one of the most commonly used. And then there are tools which help you use your own database in a way where you can have cohorts to understand your repeat behaviors. You can have a frequency analysis, how people are behaving. Um, why I'm saying this is because as a consumer brand, you might be getting a lot of Nielsen data, which you can again correlate with your online marketing activity and see the effectiveness of it. So Adobe has a tool which helps you do that, wherein you can have a report from Nielsen which can be verified with your activity and effectiveness on those through your activities done on digital marketing. So in this way, you can reach the right consumer by knowing the what sort of consumer you have, what sort of reach you have. Um, if for example, if I see, I take my example of VLCC product. Uh, in case if I don't have a reach of neither have a reach, neither do I have a lot of accessibility of a product in a certain region or a city, I should not target it actually. So what should I do? I should get that audience to there can be two ways to see it. If from my perspective, is one way will be you see it as consumer that either you drive that consumer to your online shop to buy from you, where your reach and your acceptability of the product can be done by your online branding activities, wherein your reach can be countered by your e-commerce business. So a lot of uh, places the reach is difficult, but with the help of digitalization, we are able to reach those places. And more people are making the decision online. So it is preferred that we are available as a brand to sell online, because we might not realize, but the fact is people do visit you always online to buy from you. Your strategy might get affected because of the offline structure you have versus the online structure. So you have to differentiate between a online strategy with offline strategy in terms of how you make product. One more thing which you should look at is a subscription model, which will help you to get more and more customers. Is because online commerce business is all about how you increase the stickiness of the consumer. So when you're planning all these activities, if you're not just doing branding, most of the brand nowadays have started doing branding and e-commerce together. So I'll suggest when you're doing both together, you should have a subscription model which helps you marry the online versus the offline business, wherein you might give a subscription to everyone who buys your product, and you can have technology to get that integrated to your online, so that online commerce site, which can not just increase your brand visibility, that people coming and again buying a product online which you have acquired offline. In a similar way, you can also uh, use those things to keep the stickiness of the consumer and the loyalty of the consumer towards your brand, wherein then you have given the subscription which will deliver them not just a discount but experience in terms of personalization. uh, Shaving dollar clubs, what it does is that when you're about to get over with your blades, a blade is sent across at a very minimal cost to the subscriber every month. Same is done by Amazon. So what this business has, subscription has done, given that leeway to that business, that they have created an ecosystem where they can not just sell their product, but they can keep the stickiness of the consumer over and over a period of time, which is helping the consumer brands increase their valuation, their visibility, and their reach across. And last point on this slide, how marketers are dealing with a consumer journey that is no longer linear. Yes, it's no longer linear. Consumers are interacting with you across your platform, across your medium, across your channels. Consumer is evaluating you. Earlier, it was very difficult to compare a product. Today, they can go to a site, they can read a review about 5 best face washes, facial kits, sunscreen and make a decision or best which is the best car in this segment, or it might be which is the best apparel brand in that segment. So your touch points have increased so much that you have to be present everywhere. And when I see touch points, a very important part of this is online reputation management, because what online reputation management does is it helps you actually understand how your consumer is behaving when it is trying to interact with you. For example, you have sold a product to your consumer on an offline store. The consumer might go on to your site, send in a query that I'm not happy with it. It might go to Facebook and write that I'm not happy with it. It might go to a community and write that I'm very unhappy with it. It might go to any other such platform and say that yes, I'm not unhappy. So how effectively you're managing it is becomes a much important part of your dealing with the consumer. So ORM, again I'll say be very proactive on that part. Aligning ORM to remarketing. Remarketing again. So we have spoken about how do we tackle the acquisition part, or per se, how do we interact with the people from branding perspective, that is getting the views, getting the clicks, likes, getting the consumer to read about your blogs, to see your videos, interact with the social ads, etc. Now, very important part of this whole activity is what are you doing in your remarketing part. When I say remarketing will involve not just that, yes, I went to a site, I browsed that and you remarket that person. No, remarketing, how many people have, what, it's again a very important part of how would I your automation. When I spoke of website, when I said website meant automation which captures the data points. If you're good on data, if you're good on analysis of data, your chances of retaining and continuously talking to your consumer in the right way increases much more. You can, for example, somebody has bought a product offline and the consumer has not come back for last 3 months. But my data point says here, this Mr. XYZ was there and bought XYZ product. Now I know that yes, this person hasn't come back for 3 months, and I know that that person had some liking towards my product and they bought it. Then why shouldn't I remarket that product? So my cost of acquisition is nothing at that one time. I don't need to go to some platform to promote myself wherein I have the purchasing history. What I need to do is I need to either send an email or SMS, or I need to create a remarketing plan. When I say a remarketing plan will have your whole consumer life cycle after the purchase has happened and how you're going back to that person, which is helping to retain it over a period of time. How you, and aligning it with when I've spoken ORM, because it is going to advocate about you. So remarketing ORM becomes a very important part of the marketing strategy nowadays. How do you remarket that person in the right way? Giving you more giving you some more examples about the remarketing. So, for example, I might have a data of X amount of people who have bought uh, face washes in this price point. And the same person has also bought a facial care at a X price point, and that person came to me for the first 3 months, January, February, March, but suddenly that person has not come back after June, July, August. So why there's a gap of 3 months suddenly in between? Understanding that behavior and reaching out to that consumer and getting back to your platform or your offline stores to buy from you by doing various activities which you can align to. It can be promotions, it can be your GVs, it can be again subscription model which I spoke of, it can be cashbacks, it can be loyalty points, it can be many more things which you can do over here. Uh, if you one of the few of the biggest companies have a very strong loyalty program, which is also part of remarketing. So having a strong remarketing aligned to loyalty points or subscription model helps you. Then what do we do in remarketing? So when we say remarketing, one is so that you understand your data points, you retarget them, try to get them back, and ensure that yes, your sales are happening. Apart from that, the next level of remarketing is how automated your systems are to speak to them. Rather than somebody doing an analysis, can we have automated emailers? Can we automate SMS? Can we have automated notifications going to them every month that the person who you lost after 3 months is not lost. Every month that person is getting a reminder from your brand that yes, you need to come back to me and buy from me. So this is not just increasing the retention, but what it is doing is also keeping a goodwill alive in the among the consumer that yes, you care about them, you are reminding of a refill to them or a repurchase, and you do for a repurchase, you are giving them certain benefits which is motivating them to come to you. Plus, from a business perspective, what you can do is you can have cross-sell, upsell being done over there to understand that a person who is regularly buying a bleach from you, or a person is buying a soap from you constantly, a consumer is buying a shampoo from you regularly, is also buying a face wash from you. If he's buying a shampoo, a person, everyone needs a shampoo, face wash, or regular use oil, etc., which we use on a regular. So why not a single brand can ensure that how do we keep that all our product categories are aligned to that person? That should be your end target goal, that yes, that person is buying everything you make. After that, ORM, advocacy of your brands. So to ensure that your advocacy is happening, you do social networking activities, you send them newsletters, you do promotions, you do blogs, you do community interactions, you might do offline community interaction per se, aligned to online, that you can do a Facebook live of these many people. You can say, what you can do is you can pick up a area on one of the sales hub. You can say that yes, today we are going live on Facebook for this much time. You come, and whoever comes over there, we take them live with them a GV, take a selfie and move out. Or firstly, what you can do is you can have a selfie of a person for that point in time. Let that person be tagged onto the social media. So what all this does is that your engagement with the consumer becomes direct. Till now, consumer brand have been interacting through a medium between them. By doing this, you're interacting through a direct platform, which is you as a brand from your social handles to their social handles. You're not just making them interact in terms of having selfies, taking tips from you, personalized mailers. So it's very important that you have personalized mailers, personalized behavior related. For example, when what we do is we send people who buy from a certain category personalized emailer and tips of for that category of a product. So for example, somebody is buying a facial kit, I might send that person tips of using facial kits in the best way. What are the benefits of facial kits? What should be your methodology of using a facial kit? What should be your cycle of using a facial kit, etc. So what I'm trying to say is more personalized, more direct. You go through using your direct platform of digital. The more and more you can remain with your consumer, the stickiness, brand awareness becomes a part of that consumer. A good example of will be Amazon, who what it does is refills your bags every month without even you ordering it. It knows your purchasing behavior, it knows your purchasing cycle, it knows your needs, and it delivers you without you even putting a buy. You don't even need to click a buy button for that. So making the life of your consumer easier, interactive. It might not be very easy for the brands to adopt to this methodology which I'm talking right now, but if we don't do this, if we don't make our customer interaction easier, direct, and more approachable, uh, the more difficult it will be for us to get more and more consumers, because I'm very sure the brands are going to latch onto it, and they're going to target the emotions, they're going to target the consumer behavior to keep them onto the platform. Let's go to what we learned today. Content strategy. Let me give you a brief on what I mean by content strategy for consumer brand. A content strategy, however, I'm talking of is how do you write your. So what all types of blogs you might write, or you might write. One can be your blogs. Second can be your video blogs. Third can be your social media post by influencers and celebrities. Then you will have social media reviews. Then you will have Facebook Live as part of your Facebook Live. Will say more of social media, but the first four will be core content marketing, wherein you are using people who are already having a set of people following them, and they are going to influence the consumer in making a buying behavior. And believe me, this really works, and it is working quite far. If it's not working for you, you need to check how you are making that strategy of approaching the consumer. For example, if I pick up today, if I say that so last month summer started, so if I am not able to communicate to my consumer that I am among the best sunscreen in India, where a consumer on digital is going to check and understand before it makes a decision why will it buy. So using the seasonality, trends, segment, and then deciding on a strategy. How do you position your blogs, vlogs? Believe me, power video vlogs make a lot of sense. I've recently started putting 5 to 10 seconds videos on my social media posts from my snippets of my ads, and they're getting very effective likes on them. Native marketing. So if you have any question on content, do let me know. Understanding native content ads. So I gave you a small example of that, how they can be. What are these native ads? The sponsored ad, which are like editorial ads coming between when you're very seriously reading something, seeing something, and that's the reason it makes a higher impact. It doesn't look like an ad which are being pushed onto you, but it looks more like an informative content which is relevant to the need of that person. And these native ads are shown after doing a consumer behavior analysis through the browsing behavior. Agencies like Comely, Outbrain, etc. are working on having a consumer behavior data point. Basically, they do these targetings. Um, so native marketing, I'll suggest try to do a lot. For example, the V is for VLCC, uh, telling that best way to lose weight, and in between saying that visit VLCC for treatment makes a lot of sense. Consumer will take a note of it. Yes, this because the consumer is actually looking for a weight loss, and I'm giving the tips to do a weight loss. In between, I'm putting a link where I'm driving that consumer to come onto my site and book a session with us. Various other industries might have various other ways of doing it. Uh, Ad spend, I told in the beginning as well that consumer brands spend a lot of money on doing ads, making ads, but how effectively they use the ads in digital by having a defined goal and ROI to it. Not just going and showing it everywhere will make any difference to the life of a consumer, but going to the right place, targeting the right consumer from the right channel will only help you decide on what sort of ad spend you have. How to get relevant video content we can effectively use for brand promotion. Okay, for example, if you might people might be aware of the various tools, online tools which you have. You can pick, for example, you can pick GA AdWord keyword analysis, or you can pick up Google Analytics, where you can go and, for example, I have to make a video today on sunscreen. What I'll do is I'll see what is the volume where I'm going to when I'm going to promote this ad. What sort of keywords are being used in that? So those tools will help you to identify the right content which needs to be part of that ad for your brand promotion. How people are seeing you online by using tools like mentioned. You can see what people talk about you. That's will help you to give an idea. Yes, this is what you need to put in your ads. You can go to your social media page and do an sentiment analysis and see what sort of sentiments a consumer have towards your product. Basis that you can pick up the content and use the brand from making a brand video content for the same. I've already spoken about influencer marketing becoming more and more relevant for the brand, um, because now people, uh, as more Instagram, social Facebook, mostly on Instagram and Facebook, people have, and YouTube, people do a lot of search before. So, for example, I have to see that how does the X tool works. I'll go to YouTube and say how do this tool works or this analysis happen. So I suddenly get a video when a person is telling me that yes, this is how you do it. So that person becomes an influencer. In between that, influencer will obviously tell me that these are the best tools in this category which you can opt for. So the smarter you are in deciding your influencer marketing, the better is your output. Programmatic marketing is totally a automated tool which does a bidding onto the various channels and platforms, helping you to derive the best outputs by targeting the most relevant audience basis the algo they have, and this is the uh, keywords and SEO you have on your site structure, site responsiveness plays also a major part in the tool deciding how to approach your ads towards various networks. Why brand e-commerce have become important, driving future sales strategy for brands. Consumer is on digital, consumer will be on digital, and consumer will make decision on digital. Nobody can define this fact. Down the lane, 5 years, TV is now obviously converting into apps like Hotstar, Woot, their new Alt Palaji, Amazon Prime is already making a lot of noises in the industry. Netflix is there. People are watching TV on their mobile phones. When you're watching your TV on your mobile phone, obviously you are there on digital. So TV, you're reading news on your apps, so newspapers, asking people about product reviews, influencers, um, reading some magazines, native ads or content ads. Everything is now converting in, so old format of things have converted into new format of things which is called digital. So henceforth, if you are there over there and the consumer is there, you need to have a shop for you to sell, because when you were offline you had multiple shops. You created a whole ecosystem which is called offline business, which is now big, but now online is big where the consumer wants to buy from them. The moment a consumer sees you and thinks of buying you, if you can tell that consumer that I'm here, you can buy it right now, the faster it is, the better for you. So the faster the consumer brands start designing onto the e-commerce strategy, the better it is. There are brands like Amazon, Flipkart, who are going bigger and bigger in our lifestyles nowadays. And if you're not present over there, you're losing another major uh, business. Henceforth, so it's not just that you list your products on third party and sell. You do a whole marketing activity behind that. There's a lot of SEO involved. PLA ads are there, on-site ads are there. How good imagery, there are certain scientific dimensions to it, there are certain guidelines for the content. Henceforth, When I say e-commerce, I just don't mean by saying e-commerce that you open a website and start selling. What I mean is e-commerce ecosystem. We are just selling on. You are everywhere and anywhere, wherever the consumer is. Okay. So now, Divya,
Shall I
you,
open for Q&A?
yeah, please do.
Thank you so much. Everyone, we are running a little over time. So just put in your questions in the question panel on the right hand side. And I'm also launching up the poll for people who want to take up an online course in digital marketing. And in the meantime, you can also put in your questions. For the people who want to access the recording or the presentation, you will get that delivered to your inbox. It is by Tuesday evening. So are there no questions or everyone is just typing in? I'll give out 5 more seconds for questions. If there are no questions, I think then we can wind up the session. Ashwin is saying that he is good, he has no more questions. Anyone else who has a question? He is good. What about others? So
Yeah.
Pallavi has a question.
Mm.
Pallavi wants to know
What,
whether
where should
why should
one start?
hello?
Yeah. So, where should one start in digital marketing? Right. That's your question, Pallavi. Right.
Yes, yes, exactly.
So, Pallavi, digital marketing, again, so I tried my level best to say one thing is digital marketing is not where you start, digital marketing is you already started. So, so answer your question in a very simple ways. First thing of digital marketing from a consumer brand perspective is a good website and your social media pages. If you have good social media pages, so first thing a consumer nowadays does is go to your website, see you, understand what you have and how do you have. You might not sell from there, but yes, that's the most important impression they make. Second thing they do is go to your social media pages, evaluate your consumer reviews over there, and then they move on to, if they have doubts, then they move on to a second level where they have some query they write to your customer care. Apart from this, if you ask me to start with, you should go to a very nice website and a very effective social media pages. Palvi, does this help? I'm new in digital marketing. Should I start my blog or post content every from today itself? Uh, can you tell me what is your what actually do you do and what do you want to sell or what is your brand? Can you tell me about that? So you're into event management, Narendra. So obviously you should write about your event management. You should immediately start your social post because that's a very good way of when you're going to do an event, you have to get new clients. People might hear about you, but if they don't find your present on digital platform, you might lose on an opportunity that was supposed to be yours. So you should obviously start today your Facebook pages. Let people see what you do. You should post pics and reviews of your people who have taken your services. Along with that, you should write blogs and post their content on various platforms, let people know what you are, and when you do this blogs and posts, use certain tools which are helpful for SEO. Just type tools for effective SEO, keyword checkers, and that will help you to just use relevant keywords when you're making this content. I can't help you with a proper SEO strategy right now, but yes, when you do this, you should keep in mind a good keyword analysis, which can come from Keyword Planner as well. Advert. Yes, anyone else? They should uh, should I do it on my personal page or company page? Okay, so obviously when you have a company, you will do it from the brand page, but you should be very careful of whatever you run on your brand page, because brand page is the most, sanity of the brand page is very high. Henceforth, nothing wrong. If you have the authority to do it, do it. If some other team does it, then tell them that this is what you want to do.
Thanks, Ajit. There's one more question by Kunal. He wants to know how relevant is Google AdWords for consumer goods companies?
See, when I say Google, it all depends on how can you imply that for yourself. So Google AdWords helps you to run your campaigns on Google. So a lot of people might, I use it. I use actually to see what keywords are being searched, what is the volume of keywords, and I try to correlate my online campaigns to it. Or I might be making a video, and I might see a keyword is very relevant to my brand. I might brief to my creative agency. They might use it not directly in the same way, but they can use it in a multiple ways. So when I mentioned that Google AdWords for brand, what I meant to say is, how can you take more intelligence for making an effective decision? That's a data-driven, effective, more logical way of seeing your um, final decision. That's what I meant to say. That works, Kunal, or you want to know more about it? Hello. Um,
Yes, he's good. He's good. He said that. Um, so Narendra wants to know what if a person doesn't have a good command on English? How can he perform better in a career as a blogger?
what's his good name? Uh,
Narendra only.
Narendra. See, I have done a blog in Hindi recently, a video blog, and that's very highly appreciated by management because in India today, Patanjali is the leading brand. It does everything in Hindi. So there is no maximum Indians, maximum population in India speak regional language. Vernacular language is a very important part of your content strategy nowadays. So when you're doing a Hindi ad, you should just be careful that you're targeting into that audience. If you're going to go into a very premium audience, the Hindi ads might not work. So when it comes to your capabilities that you are not good in English, then you have to channelize your capabilities in the right direction. You might to communicate your messaging to the other person, you have to use effective and logical things. People will always listen to you.
Thanks, Ajit.
Thank you.
Picking up Ramesh's question, I think that would be the final question. How much effective is Google AdWords for a B2B company?
So B2B company, if I am not wrong, you might be generating leads over there, right? I don't know what is the ASP of your average selling price of product is, because Facebook is for lead generation for a lesser value. Google is very relevant. AdWord is very relevant for a high value of product. So for example, if you are doing a B2B for a mechanical product or a product value which is very high, so you need relevant leads. You don't need junk leads. So Google, where the intent is huge, people are going to Google and typing about that I need an industrial tool. So your advert is going to help you a lot over there in generating leads. Just you need to understand. The only thing is what is your goal, what is your consumer type, and uh, what are you targeting.
Got it. Thanks so much. Thanks, Ajit, for leading the session, and thank you everyone for joining in. We'll see
Thank
you next week with another exciting session. If you want, in fact, I will share the joining URL and registration URL for the upcoming session. So you can just get yourself registered for the next session, and we'll send out the joining details with you over directly over email. Thanks, Ajit. Thanks so much.